There was something special about walking into a home in the 1980s. Before you even sat down, you could tell whose house it was by the smell of dinner cooking, the sound of laughter echoing from another room, and the familiar little things that seemed to exist in every family home. They were ordinary objects, but together they told the story of a generation. They remind us of a time before smartphones, before streaming, and before the internet filled every quiet moment. Back then, life moved a little slower, conversations lasted longer, and home felt like the center of the world. One of the first things you would notice was the big television sitting proudly in the living room. It wasn't hanging on a wall. It was a heavy wooden box that seemed to weigh as much as a refrigerator. Families gathered around it every evening, waiting for their favorite shows to begin. There were only a handful of channels, so everyone watched together. If someone wanted to change the channel, they usually had to get up and turn a dial. Later came the simple remote control, but someone always seemed to lose it between the couch cushions. Close by was the VCR, one of the greatest inventions of the decade. Renting a movie for the weekend felt like a major event. Families would visit the local video store, carefully choosing one or two movies after spending half an hour reading the backs of VHS cases. Everyone knew the importance of rewinding the tape before returning it. It was a small act of kindness that every customer understood. In another corner of the room sat the stereo system. It often had tall speakers, a radio, a cassette player, and sometimes even a record player. Music filled the house every day. Teenagers proudly made mixtapes for friends, carefully choosing each song and recording it one track at a time. There was no shuffle button or playlist. Every cassette held memories that someone created with patience and love. On a nearby shelf, you could almost always find stacks of photo albums. These weren't digital pictures hidden inside a phone. Every photo had been printed and carefully placed into plastic sleeves. Families gathered around these albums during holidays, laughing at funny hairstyles, birthday parties, vacations, and baby pictures that everyone pretended to be embarrassed about. Every page told a story worth remembering. The telephone was another important part of every home. It usually stayed in one place, attached to the wall or resting on a small table. The long curly cord stretched across the room whenever someone wanted a little privacy. Everyone knew each other's phone numbers by heart because there was no contact list to save them. If the phone rang during dinner, someone would rush to answer it before the caller hung up. Many kitchens proudly displayed a recipe box filled with handwritten family recipes. Mothers, fathers, and grandparents passed these recipes down through generations. Stained recipe cards carried the marks of years spent making birthday cakes, holiday meals, and favorite comfort foods. Cooking wasn't about following a video tutorial. It was about family traditions that lived on through every meal. Every home also seemed to have a cookie tin. Sometimes it actually held cookies, but more often it was filled with sewing supplies. Buttons of every shape and color, needles, thread, measuring tape, and tiny scissors all found a home inside that familiar metal tin. Children often opened it hoping for a sweet treat, only to discover Grandma's sewing kit waiting inside once again. Number 1980's home felt complete without houseplants. Green vines stretched across shelves, hanging baskets decorated sunny windows, and large leafy plants filled empty corners. Taking care of them became part of the family's weekly routine. They quietly grew alongside the people who lived there, becoming part of the home's personality. The coffee table usually held a neat stack of magazines. There were magazines about cooking, sports, cars, fashion, travel, and home decorating. People actually waited each month for the newest issue to arrive in the mailbox. Reading them became a relaxing evening habit, long before endless scrolling took over our free time. Then there was the calendar hanging on the kitchen wall. Every birthday, school event, doctor's appointment, and family gathering was written by hand. Colorful circles and little notes filled each square. Everyone in the family checked that calendar every morning because it held the schedule that kept life moving smoothly. Children's bedrooms often contained colorful toy boxes overflowing with action figures, dolls, puzzles, board games, stuffed animals, and building blocks. Rainy afternoons didn't require Wi-Fi. Imagination supplied everything needed for endless adventures. Brothers, sisters, cousins, and neighbors created entire worlds using nothing more than toys and creativity. Many homes also had a small bookshelf filled with encyclopedias. Whenever someone had a question, there was no search engine waiting with an instant answer. Families opened those thick books and searched page after page until they found what they were looking for. Learning required patience, curiosity, and a little determination. The kitchen counter often featured a simple radio that stayed on throughout the day. Morning news, weather reports, favorite songs, and friendly voices kept everyone company while breakfast was prepared or dishes were washed. That background music became part of everyday family life. Every closet seemed to hide a collection of board games. Monopoly, Scrabble, checkers, and many others brought families together on quiet evenings. Winning was exciting, but spending time together mattered even more. Laughter often lasted much longer than the game itself. There was also a special place where letters, birthday cards, and postcards were carefully stored. Receiving mail from friends and relatives felt exciting because every envelope carried someone's handwriting, thoughts, and care. Those letters became treasured keepsakes that many families still hold onto today. The garage or basement often contained shelves packed with tools, holiday decorations, old bicycles, paint cans, and boxes labeled just in case. Parents seemed convinced that almost everything might become useful someday. Sometimes they were right. Those forgotten treasures often found new life years later. Even the family clock seemed different. Whether it ticked loudly on the wall or chimed every hour, it gently reminded everyone that time was passing. Yet somehow, it never felt like there was a rush. Families made time for dinner together. Neighbors stopped by without sending a message first. Children played outside until the streetlights came on, and everyone somehow knew it was time to head home. Looking back, these weren't expensive treasures or rare collectibles. They were everyday objects found in ordinary homes. Yet they carried extraordinary meaning because they witnessed birthdays, family dinners, first steps, holiday mornings, school projects, bedtime stories, and countless conversations that shaped lives. Today's homes may be filled with smarter technology and faster devices, but the greatest things found inside a home have never really changed. Love still gathers families around a table. Laughter still fills the rooms. Memories are still created one ordinary day at a time. Perhaps that's the real gift the 1980s left behind. It reminds us that happiness was never hidden inside the television, the cassette tape, the recipe box, or the photo album. Those simple things became unforgettable because they surrounded people who cared for one another. As we remember those familiar treasures from every 1980s home, we are reminded that the most valuable thing we can ever build is not a perfect house, but a place where hearts feel welcome, stories are shared, and every generation leaves behind memories that will continue to warm the next for years to come.